And these strawberries are from Hood, right?
Right.
It's pretty damn special. I think I know. I think I'm afraid of it. I could also characterize myself as someone who just doesn't know how to maintain an equilibrium amid popular mythology.
You have to unpack that for me.
What I mean by that is the stories that, get a mortgage, get a career, do this thing, make this widget, be this type of person, be an illustrator, be a car salesman, be a baker, be a this, be a that. Like, I love it. I'm not frowning upon one's chosen vocation, if it is in fact chosen, if it is in fact a way through which the toil with hands becomes less toil and more a means of transcending isolation through embodiment. This is me being the practice of making bread, which to me is rather transcendent whenever I'm in it. There's a bit of inertia I'm feeling right now because I've been in a place of particular stagnation. However, I think that desire speaks to the broader desire that is the art of being. The art of being, to me, forgive me for going there, but what is art? To me, everything is art. Everything is trying to transcend the isolation of itself separate from. It communicates. Blades of grass communicating with blades of grass, the language we choose, the language that spontaneously seeming coming out of my face, reaching towards you, is in an effort to make this distance between us smaller, seem less of a chasm. It's amazing how I can also experience less of a chasm with someone with whom I might have thousands of miles separating me from them or them from me, than at times whenever I am working with someone in a kitchen or working with someone at an event or sitting at a table with someone I might actually love but don't know how to communicate with because we're estranged in that moment. To me, desire has to do with transcending isolation. And it actually has become, I think of Kafka's The Burrow, right? The character who, I haven't read that in a long time, but a character who grows so familiar with his depression that it becomes almost like the familiar blanket that the person can't live without. To be honest, I have a desire for someone to rip the blanket away from me. And I have a couple of friends who do that. And they're not here. They don't live in town. But when I see them, they don't fall into my folly, which is believing I am what I am feeling now. But what I am feeling now is based on sort of like my being is a habitat of habits. Like I have become my habits in a way, or my habits have become me, the way I see in the world. What am I doing every day? And I've gone through a particular time of, if I can be a bit of a jerk to myself, wallowing. Not knowing how to say, you know what, I really need someone to make me soup right now. You know what? Or like, I haven't had sex in a few years. What do I do? Let's see, maybe I could go to a sex therapist. Almost went that way, but it felt sterile, and I was just like, I'll just use my hands, it's fine. There's a lot of busy work, doing nothing. So much of the average catastrophe, or the catastrophe of the average, in my opinion, is a whole bunch of busy work, while actually doing or being, perhaps being, nothing. Things that we may want, like am I smoking, am I drinking? I don't have a problem with the substances. I see them as truly part of perhaps a deficient toolkit, but they're part of how I adapt to what I perceive as an inhospitable average. I don't know how. That's my story. That's like the story, right? This is part of my reality. This is part of my physical way of coping with the anxiety. So I roll a cigarette. You do something, but you're doing nothing. Like rolling a cigarette is a perfect way of doing something while doing not a goddamn thing. and the breath is heavier. The breath is heavier with this smoke. I feel it more.
Yeah.
I feel it more. And I want to smoke all fucking day in this reality. It's like, wait a second, I have to go sell my labor for what crumbs? Or smoke myself stupid? And it's like, to me, it's like, well, smoke myself stupid, at least I'm only doing damage to me. As opposed to contributing. See, this is where I go into a macro space. And I go into this macro space of critique.
Right.
Because I don't think it's not valid, but it's part of my blanket. It's like,
Very
I don't
well
have
known.
to deal with how, like, okay, what I really want is a family. Tobacco, marijuana, and booze don't really fill in well for a village, but neither do the pills. Neither does the workaholism, which is a very well condoned addiction. That doesn't fill in well for the absence of the village. So it's like,
And it doesn't fill in well for the terror and the agony of having to actually cross all of those chasms and make it happen. The potential rejection, the
rejection thing. One of the therapists that I've most respected in my years of dabbling in therapy, he didn't say, like, grow some fucking balls, but essentially he did. It's like, you just gotta get hurt more.
oh my god.
And
What would you do to get hurt more? Like, what would that look like? What does that mean?
this one friend of mine who I mentioned, you on Tinder? I was like, I'm not on fucking Tinder. I don't want to swipe people left and basically, like, destroy them. Like, I don't know them. I can't, like, wholesale dismiss a human being so casually. He's like, I don't remember his exact words.
Really, that's all I do on Tinder. No, 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 no.
So I can't do it. But he's like, okay, while I'm here for this week, you're going to get back on Tinder.
Okay.
I'm this, okay. And I get back on, and he's like, how about this girl? I'm like, sure. It's like, okay, so send her a message. What do I say? I don't know, it was awkward. At one point, I don't remember the ins and outs of those details, maybe because it was so, like, I don't know, just like screaming in the dark towards this person who presumably is some sort of light. And I'm like, okay, come find me in the dark. I'm alone. Like, come find me, fetch me. I want to connect. Do you? I mean, obviously, I didn't text that.
That would be really going for it. That'd be willing to get hurt more.
That's kind of where I'm at, I think. So whatever. He's like, okay, we're gonna meet. We're gonna meet her right now. So I'm like, okay, fine. So essentially, we met at a bar. And within 5 minutes, by a fire in the backyard of this bar, this woman shared to me a poem. And how is it that I'm so hungry, kind of like someone whose lips are cracked, kind of like the smell of rain on dust, like, you have a memory, but you seem so wild and foreign, and you're near brokenness, and you're near dust condition. You know. Once she read me that poem, I was just like, I want her. This is a poem about her agony, her difficulty, and her joy. Like, who the fuck shares a poem like that and then returns back to the average cultural texting bullshit? We had a wonderful night that night and the next night, and then because I guess I didn't have my buddy there, even though we had a number of exchanges after he left, we didn't once meet up without him there, because I don't know how to sit there patient whenever I'm actually fearing that rejection. But I want to, I don't know, excuse me, make you soup. Rip away your blanket while giving you another one. that of connection. That's epic. Yeah, it's just
fucking
like, see, like,
epic.
that's it. Like, regardless of whatever bullshit, like, humans are doing, that's consistent.
What would it take for me to reach out to you? To reach out to you with my hands. To touch the leathered generations. The lines they etched across your palms. To caress the years that carved your seed and sculpted the flowering of your branches. We sat in the park, surrounded by people. Our legs crossed towards ourselves as our mouths flowed towards each other, with the same intensity of yearning that rivers flow towards the sea. What would it have taken for me to show you the longing of my wanting lips and curious tongue, and also, more so, that deepest part of me, the terrified, hidden, angry, desperate part of me, entangled in every fear, every excitement, poised at the crossroads of every wild possibility, and the floods of grief that have worn me down smooth as stone. The eras of the leathered generations, and the endless travel through the frightened, habituated crossroads of every passing day, drew their lines across my palms, and I kept my hands to myself.